The first phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe was a truly groundbreaking time in the films industry. Unfortunately, the same can't be said about the games tied to Phase 1 of the MCU, which were made by Sega. But what if I told you there was a potential diamond in the rough that could have been so much more than the sum of its parts? That game is Captain America Super Soldier for the Xbox 360 and PS3. Let me start by painting a little picture for you here. In the late 2000s, my time gaming was at an all-time high. Between being young, out of school, and working a dead-end job, it gave me a lot of free time to kill, and video games just so happened to be my vice of choice. When 2009's Batman Arkham Asylum was released, I spent the first few weeks after its release locked in my own Batcave, also known as my parents' basement, playing through it multiple times. Once I had exhausted my visit to Arkham, I was left wanting more. As the months went on, I allowed other games to fill the void in my heart, although they could really never leave me quite as happy as Arkham Asylum did. When I heard that Rocksteady was making Batman Arkham City, and that it would be released in October of 2011, I did what any sane person would do, and started frothing at the mouth as I gave GameStop my pre-order money. Around the same time on the Marvel end of things, Captain America was prepping for his first outing in the MCU, and to go along with it, a game was quietly published by Sega and released as well. Being the on-the-ball person I am, looked into the pre-release content and realized that it shared a lot of similarities to the Arkham series, and that maybe, just maybe, it was what I needed to whet my appetite until Arkham City. So did it? Well, not quite. But let's look into why. The story of Super Soldier takes place as a side story to Captain America, the first Avenger, and revolves around our eponymous hero infiltrating a mountainside town to stop Armin Zola from recreating the Super Soldier serum. As the game progresses, the stakes are raised slightly, but there's never really any development to the characters, and there's really no arc to them either. This is probably due to the fact that the game lives in the same universe as the first Avenger, so I can't really blame the developers, unfortunately, as they were probably marching orders given by Marvel directly. Thankfully, the story is at least voiced by many of the stars of the first Avenger, including Captain America himself, Chris Evans. His delivery is wooden, and it seems like he may have been fed his lines without any real context. But, oh well. The core gameplay in Super Soldier is actually quite solid. You play as Cap and can string together combos using a combination of melee attacks, grabs, and your shield. The shield can also be tossed at enemies, and once upgraded, will act like a pinball, bouncing between them. Cap has a gauge with 4 segments that can be used to unleash a variety of crippling moves and abilities once it's been filled. Between engagements, Cap will spend most of his time collecting dossiers, film reels, and Fabergé eggs, and not much else. This is where a game like Arkham Asylum uses its detective mode to break things up and add some extra variety. There's an odd, tacked-on parkour minigame where you traverse around the level, but you don't really do anything but hit the A button in rhythm to parkour faster. As you gain intel points from collecting things, you can unlock a whopping 9, yes, I said 9, upgrades across 3 specialties. Unfortunately, the game starts to break down the longer you play it. The environments are drab, and characters and textures look downright awful at times. This could be forgiven if it were closer to the launch of the Xbox 360, but this game came out in 2011. Games like Skyrim and Gears of War 3 were released the same year, and they still hold up to this day. The frame rate also chugs and is erratic at best. This makes it nearly impossible to block and counter enemies on a consistent basis. If I were the director of this game, there are a few things I would have tried changing before it got released. The first being the story. Have it live in its own universe. The Arkham series got this right in not trying to have it live in the Nolan universe. Including characters like Madam Hydra is cool, but when there's no backstory to why she's there beyond the most basic "Yar, bad guy, hail Hydra" trope, it just ends up as window dressing. My second suggestion would be to flesh out the gameplay more. You know, Mix it up. A stealth mission as Bucky would have been cool, or maybe even a run and gun segment as Dum Dum Dugan. So while the game is clearly a cash-in for the release of the movie, it is better than most other movie tie-in games. It could have been so much more. The developers even tried hinting at this in the post-credits scene, where it hinted at an obvious sequel. Well, that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Maybe check out one of my highlight videos while you're at it?